Dore Gold is the former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations and the president of the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs. Ambassador Gold, welcome. Good to have you here today. First question, of course, is what's your reaction to what the president had to say today?
Well, frankly, I agree with you. This is a radical shift in U.S. policy towards Israel. You know, just a number of years ago in 2004, the state of Israel received American guarantees that at the end of the day, Israel would not be forced to withdraw to those 1967 lines, that Israel had a right to defensible borders. Frankly, the 1967 lines are not defensible. Israel today is 45 miles wide. You put us back to the 67 lines, we are 8 miles wide. The state of Israel can't be defended in those dimensions.
You know, earlier we talked about what the president had to say about these 1967 borders. And initially, you know, as we were all sort of sorting through the information in this speech, it was taken literally. And that would have sort of meant that some of the religious sites that we talked about would be lost to the Israelis, like the Wailing Wall, for example, and the Mount of Olives. So now we are learning more about how this would all work out, and really that it's not defined that clearly in terms of those religious sites, and that it would be swaps, as he said, as the president said in that statement, that there would be mutually agreed upon land swaps. Do you have any understanding? Can you clarify for us, in terms of these holy sites, what might be included and what might not be included?
Well, first of all, strictly speaking, the 1967 lines place the entire old city of Jerusalem outside of Israel. That means the Western Wall, the Temple Mount, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre will become Palestinian territory. Now, the president did say that he is not going to deal with Jerusalem at present, but with the principle of the 1967 lines in their pocket, the Palestinians are going to drive this home. They want the old city of Jerusalem. But frankly, only a free and democratic Israel will protect Jerusalem for all faiths. Prior to 67, Christians were discriminated against, and Jews couldn't even go to the Western Wall. I think every Israeli in his heart of hearts, when he hears the 1967 lines, that brings back terrible memories of 55 synagogues being destroyed in the old city by the Jordanian army, and by what's going on elsewhere in the Middle East today, where churches, Shiite mosques, and other religious sites are under attack by Muslim radicals. Jerusalem is safe and secure today. We're very concerned of what would happen if indeed the 67 lines were implemented.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is going to obviously provoke a major discussion about these holy sites. And when you talk about mutually agreed swaps of land within that, you know, barrier defense region that you're talking about, it's hard to imagine how they would arrive at these mutually agreed swaps of land. I mean, can you outline for us what kind of negotiation might be possible in terms of those holy sites? And also, can you just clarify, as I remember, and correct my history on this for me, was it Ariel Sharon who went to the Wailing Wall, you know, in a very sort of bold move at that time in order to cross into that territory and visit that site?
Well, Ariel Sharon at the time visited the Temple Mount, which is holy to Jewish people. I know it's also holy to Muslims, and many Christians recall its holiness as well. He has a right to visit there, as he has a right to visit any other point in Israel. But what really then ignited what was called the Intifada was Mr. Arafat's behavior. But let's go back to the dimensions of Israel. As I said before, Israel is today 45 miles wide. Take away the West Bank, we're down to 8 miles. That is why one area that every Israeli prime minister has insisted upon, like Yitzhak Rabin, was that Israel stay in the Jordan Valley. That's where our troops have to be located, along the Jordan River. From there, we can defend the state of Israel. But if you push us to the 67 lines, we don't have a presence in the Jordan Valley. We don't have our troops there, and Israel is basically defenseless.
Is it your understanding, is there any indication that the White House indicated to Benjamin Netanyahu that this was going to be included in this speech, that any heads up was given to the Israeli leadership that this would be included, A, and B, how does this impact the discussions that the president will have with Netanyahu, you know, in the coming days?
Well, this morning's New York Times actually has an article by Helene Cooper and by their reporter in Israel, Ethan Broner, in which they say there was a debate in the administration. Should they put in the word 67 lines or shouldn't they? And one official, Dennis Ross, was dead set against it. But unfortunately, those who advocated to the president to put in 67 lines won the day, and we have the speech. But as I said before, for Israelis, 67 lines means a country that cannot be defended. And also it means a country that loses in Jerusalem control of the holy sites that have been important for our people for 2,000 years.
All right, so a lot of dispute over what exactly was meant by that area and the holy sites within that area, and what is meant by this idea of land swaps as part of this agreement. So this is all to still be hashed out, of course, in the process of this. Dore Gold, Ambassador, thank you very much.